friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Mal and I am the owner and maker of Made by MANIANDMAL, and I'm so happy that you're here and that you found this video. My birthday is coming up on January 1st, and in thinking about Tumbler designs, I was thinking maybe I could do something for my birthday. And then I started thinking maybe I could use my birth flower or my zodiac sign. And then I thought maybe I could do my birthstone, which is a garnet. And it's like a deep red color. And then I was thinking, I don't really want to do all those, like, I just did all these Christmas colors with this red. And then I thought, I saw this quote on Pinterest and it said, my birthstone is a coffee bean. And so it just all kind of came together that way. So anyway, long story short, we're going to be making a tumbler that says, my birthstone is a coffee bean, because I truly think that instead of a garnet, my birthstone should be a coffee bean due to my caffeine addiction. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I really hope that you enjoy it. I love how this turned out and it was super fun to put together. So if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. We upload every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay, I hope you enjoy. Let's go.
We're going to be doing a full wrap with printed vinyl on this cup, so I wanted to use something that had a totally straight edge, no taper, so I'm using a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven. It's a whole lot harder to do full wraps on cups that have tapers or curves, so I always recommend something straight. So here's the wrap that we're going to put on. I printed this myself. I got these two separate digital papers from Etsy in the same bundle, and I just put them together in pages on my Mac. You can do this in Google Docs, in Canva, whatever you have that works. And I just sized the squares to be about half of the height of my cup because I wanted a 50-50 split. And then I just tiled them so that I could make them the full length of the paper. And then I printed it out on my Epson printer on this glossy printable vinyl. And now I can just apply this full sheet to my cup versus having to apply each stripe or pattern individually and worry about having to line everything up. So I trimmed off the white margins from the top and bottom of this sheet, and now I'm just wrapping it around my cup to see if it's going to be a straight wraparound, see how much excess I'm going to have at the back, and then I'll trim off the excess there. Ideally, I want about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of overlap on this wrap. I don't want to try to work to make the seams meet up perfectly because I inevitably will mess something up and we'll see some stainless steel or something through it. So I always like a little bit of overlap because in the end, you really can't tell. So I'm marked with a pencil where I want to trim off that excess so we have just that tiny little bit of overlap. And I'm going to use my paper trimmer to make sure I get a straight line. And here is our pretty perfectly sized wrap. So what I'm going to do now is apply it the exact same way that I would a professionally printed vinyl wrap. But the only thing I'm going to do differently is line up the bottom of my vinyl with the bottom of the cup, if that makes sense. So you can see I'm doing it here. I'm not going to take any of that excess vinyl and wrap it around that bottom rim, because the thing with printing your own printable vinyl at home is that you don't get the same elasticity that you would from a professionally printed piece of vinyl that has that stretch that you can really pull over that bottom edge. And that's the one thing I don't really love about printing my own patterns at home. I love the convenience and the ability to print whatever I want. I just like the material of the flexible, durable, vinyl that you can really do anything you want to. This is a little bit more delicate. So anyway, what I'm going to do is cut off a little piece of the backing, adhere about 1 inch of the vinyl to my cup, test it, wrap it all the way around to make sure that my line is going to meet up and that we're going to have a pretty seamless finish. And then I'm just going to push the vinyl onto the cup with my thumbs very slowly and carefully, pushing the backing off in the process. And you can see that up at that top rim, I've got a little bit of creasing or bubbling a little bit. That's just a result of us not having that super stretchy, flexible material, but it's okay. In the end, you really can't tell. We'll finish it off really nicely and it'll be okay. So once I get to the end, I'm going to just push off the remainder of the backing And so this is pretty finished. I mean, we don't have too much overhang here. We can either leave it or we can trim off a little bit of that excess. I chose to trim it off, but you definitely don't have to. It's just personal preference, whatever you want. So here's what we've got so far. The seam meets up pretty perfectly. We did a pretty good job back there. You can't really tell where the vinyl meets up. So now what I'm going to do is take care of this top rim. Now the trick to getting this to work for you is to use a craft knife that has a very sharp blade on it, ideally a brand new blade. So just to show you, I went in here with a blade that's fairly new but has been used a little bit, and it's kind of difficult to get a clean cut. I'm having to go in little sections because if you just kind of take your blade and run it up against that top rim, you're gonna get little like divots in your vinyl that are gonna show there, and it's gonna crinkle and it won't be a clean cut, which is what you want. So I'm going to just finish out cutting off all of this excess, and then I'm gonna grab a knife that has a brand new blade on it and we'll clean up that top rim. So you can see there are a few areas where this cut was a little bit jagged, but I'm just going to take this brand new blade and go really, really slowly and just hold my knife at about a 45-degree angle to cut off all of that excess and get this vinyl to lay flat so we don't have any lifting or run into any issues when we go into epoxy. So all of those little creases and little like bubbles that you see now, you won't really see under epoxy because the epoxy is so shiny. You really won't be able to tell in the end, and it doesn't really bother me too much, but that's just another thing about using your own printable vinyl at home. I'm taking my vinyl scraper there and just kind of pushing the air out of those little lift areas to get them to lay a little bit more flat. And here's what we've got now. So what we're going to do is move right into our decal application. Now, because this is glossy printable vinyl and I'm comfortable working with it, I know that the image is not going to lift off if I use transfer tape or anything on it. I'm confident going right into my decal. However, if you're using matte printable vinyl, or if you want the extra security, I would go ahead and add a thin coat of epoxy here to seal everything in, and then go in with your decal. But I trust this vinyl, I know it's gonna work, so I'm gonna go right into my decal work now. And for the decal, of course, I'm using the My Birthstone is a Coffee Bean saying, and I made this SVG, so it will be available in my Etsy shop, my digital Etsy shop, and my Patreon members get this file for free. So I cut it out using a triple offset. The file comes with just a regular offset, but I just made another one. And this bottom layer is light gold from Tech Wrap Craft. It's a mirrored chrome vinyl, and it kind of has a coppery vibe to it. It gives me like major coffee feelings. So that's going to be our bottom layer. And you can see here, I'm just applying it using the hinge method, being very, very careful. Even though I trust this vinyl, the pattern vinyl, printable vinyl, I still want to be very, very careful. I don't want to be too aggressive in pulling off my transfer tape just to be safe. I'm going to go really, really, really slow with applying this decal. For the second layer of the decal, I'm just using regular brown Oracal 651 vinyl. The top layer of the decal is a pretty light colored pearlescent vinyl, so I wanted to give that a dark background so that it really pops off the tumbler. And of course, brown coffee, we gotta have that. So I just applied this word by word, and then I went in with the top layer, that pearlescent vinyl I talked about. And of course, my phone did not record it, but here it is. It's pearlescent coral orange, also from Tech Wrap Craft, and it's absolutely beautiful. I just applied it the exact same way I did the brown layer. And now, to really expedite this tumbler process, I'm going to go right into finishing the bottom as well. I'm using Pop of Color paints in the color Deep Blush, and I'm very carefully just painting that stainless steel bottom, going right up against that bottom edge of the vinyl, and really taking my time with this, going super, super slow. And I'm just going to coat the entire bottom with this paint, and then once this dries, we will go into our very first layer of epoxy. So for this first coat of epoxy, I mixed up 25 milliliters of a little extra ink epoxy, and I'm going to apply all of that to this cup. And then after about 6 hours, I'm going to go right into my second coat of epoxy, Once that coat was all cured, I did some sanding just on the top rim, very, very light. We didn't need too much. And then I was getting ready to go into my final coats of epoxy, and I was looking at the cup, and I just didn't like how that brown vinyl kind of dulled this beautiful pearlescent vinyl that I had on top. So I decided to cover it up. So I'm doing just the brown offset and then this pink on top. But instead of brown, I'm going to do white to really make this pink vinyl pop more, which was what I wanted in the first place. So I'm just going to place this white vinyl right on top of my decal, and you can still see that copper chrome vinyl underneath, but the brown is totally covered up. And then I'm just going to go right back in with the pearlescent pink vinyl right on top of that white, and you can see the difference immediately. It totally pops. It's way brighter, which is what I wanted because this printed vinyl is a little bit more muted, and I really wanted something to like pop off of this tumbler. So I put that right on top, and once I had that on there, I went right into another coat of epoxy. I mixed up 20 milliliters of a little extra ink epoxy, and into that I put a little bit of special edition flurries from Peachy Olive Glitters just to give this entire tumbler a nice little glitter finish and a glitter shine on the whole thing. And then, because I wanted to add just a little bit more, you guys know me, more is more in my mind most of the time, I mixed together just a tiny bit of Hortensia from PDB and Pandora, also from PDB. And I'm going to just kind of sprinkle that very lightly, sporadically around the cup, just with my fingers. You can see there just a tiny, tiny little bit all over the cup to give this just a little bit of extra oomph. Like I wanted something to just like really bring this to life. Obviously, you do not have to do this step if you don't want to. I just wanted to add a little bit of extra glitter to the top. So once this coat was all cured, I went in with my final coat of epoxy. I used about 15 milliliters of a little extra ink for that one, and then we were all done. So that is it for this tutorial. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any new videos. I'll be back with a brand new video on Thursday. Okay, I'll see you guys then. Love you. Bye.
So anyway, long story short, we're going to be making what? I got it going on. My name is Mal. Welcome to my video. Welcome to my video. Okay. And I am a technically what? Maybe I could do something with my birthstone, which is technically the garnet. Garnet? Garnet? How do you say garnet? Garnet? Garnet. What a dummy. Yeah. Yep, I am. Garnet. Garnet. I said it right.